So we focus our attention on the association. Just 5 more days remain in the NBA's regular season to figure out the postseason picture. Now, the 10 teams that will play in the postseason in each conference have already been determined. The 10 teams in the East, the 10 teams in the West. 7 through 10 will be in the play-in tournament. 1 through 6 right into the playoffs. And could this be a potential Eastern Conference Finals preview tonight in Milwaukee? Not the way the Bucks are playing as of late. Milwaukee has dropped 4 straight. They've been booked as a favorite in all 4. 3 of the 4 as a double-digit favorite. Maybe it's good news, JY. They're an underdog tonight at home against the NBA's best team, the Boston Celtics. 2-point spread in favor of the C's. The over-under 228. The Celtics have already wrapped up the number 1 overall seed in the Eastern Conference. Milwaukee now trying to hold on to that 2nd seed. What is the motivation tonight for Milwaukee?
To win, to show up, to show that you even are worthy of contendership, to show the fact that you shouldn't have, you didn't make a mistake in firing Adrian Griffin, who was, 30-11 when he got let go because he lost the locker room. To me, this is a pivotal time for the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks team that came out of the All-Star break hot, I think winners of 5 straight games, and have really just looked like a team that's lost. And the thing that's most concerning to me about them is their defense. It has not been fixed. Pat Bev is not going to fix the fact that you guys can't stop guards. They get in front of Jalen Brunson, barbecue chicken. They get in front of Tyrese Halliburton, barbecue chicken. They get in front of Tyrese Maxey, barbecue chicken. And I haven't even gone to the Western Conference yet. So to me, they have to do a better job defensively, and they have to find a way to get Giannis and Damian Lillard to play well together. It's not working. And I'm going to say this. It is important that you have to understand, this is the 3rd coach in a calendar year in Milwaukee. If they don't get it done, I know I've been on Doc Rivers, I've bashed him ad nauseum since I've been on this network. At some point, you must look at Giannis and say, well, the one thing that hasn't changed is you are the leader of this team. He has to step up on both sides of the floor if this team's going to make a run.
A few games left in the regular season here, Coach, for the Milwaukee Bucks. And we've been talking long-term about the Phoenix Suns. Hey, they didn't play enough together this year, and can they catch lightning in a bottle at the end of the season? Things are starting to look up for them. But Milwaukee playing their worst basketball at this time of the season, is there a chance that we can see them, I don't want to say resurrect their season in the final 3 games. That's not fair. But what do we see in the playoffs? Because quite frankly, they're on a collision course to take on the Sixers and the Miami Heat in round number 1. You better get your act together.
Well, they better get their act together quick, or they better hope that find a way that Philadelphia and Miami find their ways to 5 and 6 in the Eastern Conference. So, because if you really think about it, folks, if Milwaukee plays Philadelphia and JoJo is healthy, I'm taking Philadelphia in a 7-game series. If they play Miami, didn't they lose to Miami once in a 1-8 matchup, right? So last year. So to me, when you start looking at Milwaukee, you better start finding who can they beat in the first round, right? New York, questionable. Cleveland, they're a fraud. We can talk about them whenever y'all want to. Miami, Orlando, maybe too young. But if they see Philadelphia or Miami, or maybe even Indiana, who Tyrese Halliburton has their number, they're going to be in trouble, folks. And I don't know if they can fix this.
Seeds 3 through 6 right now in the Eastern Conference. That is Orlando in the 3 spot all the way down, or actually seeds 3 through 8, all the way down to Miami, who is currently in the 8 spot, separated by only 3 games. 6 teams, all separated by just 3 games. Now, there's only about 3 or 4 games left for every team around the association, so it's tough to make up a significant amount of ground in that time, but there is a lot to be figured out in the Eastern Conference standings, and the Bucks only a game in front of Orlando and New York. The Magic in the 3, the Knicks in the 4 spot. Now we go to the Western Conference. The Lakers still trying to battle at least to the 7-8 spot of that Western Conference play-in tournament, but if the season ended today, it does in 5 days, it would be the Lakers and the Warriors in a 9-10 Western Conference play-in tournament game. The Lakers the 9 seed, the Warriors the 10 seed. So we go tonight to Los Angeles. The Lakers a 2.5-point home favorite. Total at 236.5. A potential play-in preview. So what do we see tonight?
We see fireworks, and we see both teams want to try and find their way to see if they could get their way to 8. With the Sacramento Kings team, it's 5-5 the last 10 games, and with a difficult schedule down the stretch, still having to play Oklahoma City, Phoenix, and New Orleans, 3 teams that are fighting for position. So this is a big game for both teams if they want to try and find a way to get themselves to 7-8, because you get 2 chances to try and get yourself into the playoffs as opposed to 1. So it's a huge matchup tonight. Expect a lot of fireworks. All the stars should be on play. I know Anthony Davis got his eye poked. I think he should be good to go. But it's going to be a really big matchup tonight for both teams as they try to leapfrog the Kings, who has 33 losses but just lost Kevin Huerter and Malik Monk in the last week.
JY, let me ask you a question about this, too. Looking at Golden State and Los Angeles, let's just say it stays status quo. Number 10 seed, number 9 seed, respectively. Who has the best chance of getting out of the play-in round?
Oh, I mean, that's tough. I mean, I'm gonna lean on the Lakers here, and just the fact that I think LeBron and AD will find their way to get them through. Golden State has been such a crazy what's going on there ever since trading Jordan Poole. You got Draymond, who's up to his old antics. You never know when he's going to explode. You have the Klay Thompson going to the bench that he did not like, but now Klay's playing arguably his best basketball in years. Why, folks? He's in a contract year. Klay wants to get paid and get one last big deal. So to me, I like the Lakers in that spot to get out of that play-in or get into playoffs. Yeah. But the Golden State Warriors do have an easier schedule down the stretch. 2 of their 4 games are Portland and Utah, and no one tanks better in the second half of the season than the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, listen, a lot of positioning to figure out even within the play-in tournament component of the postseason in the NBA's Western Conference. Both teams playing good basketball, though, as of right now. Golden State has won 7 of their last 8. They have covered in 5 of those 7 wins. The Lakers victorious in 9 of their last 11, over in 8 of their last 12. But if this is even slightly reminiscent of a postseason game in a play-in tournament preview, 236 for an over-under feels just a little bit high. Now we go to Phoenix. The Suns, 7.5-point favorite tonight against the Clippers. LA, a big win at home on Sunday, coming back from down 26 against the Cavaliers. Paul George hitting the game winner without Kawhi Leonard out there. So this 7.5-point spread tonight, JY, in the Valley for the Suns would indicate that LA is probably not at full health. Donnie and I have bemoaned numerous times throughout the home stretch of this NBA regular season. Phoenix, in opportunities to prove it is a true contender in the Western Conference, falls short. We saw it once again against New Orleans at home on Sunday in a game the Suns could have put some distance between them and the 6th spot, or at least staying out of the play-in tournament. They failed to do so. What do you expect out of Phoenix tonight?
I expect them to get a win. I don't know if they cover the spread, but they need this win. They have, in the Western Conference, the hardest schedule left with Minnesota, Clippers twice, and Sacramento. But it's a little bit tricky if you really look at it for a fact that a Clippers team that's 2 games ahead of the loss column of Dallas. So they got a little bit of wiggle room.
They do.
And they're probably going to want to rest their guys because they're locked in that 4-5 matchup, most likely against Dallas. So this is an opportunity for Phoenix to try and see if they can make one last run to be that 6th seed, which would be a really intriguing matchup in that 3-6 if it were to be Oklahoma City and Phoenix. Oklahoma City has rested SGA a bunch of times down the stretch of the season. They want to get ready to go. Phoenix, folks, they have firepower. There's no question about it with their big 3. Yusuf Nurkic has been, I don't want to call it a revelation, but an upgrade over DeAndre Ayton because of his ability to rebound the ball and pass the ball out of the high post. Grayson Allen shooting the ball the best he's got in his career. I think about 46% from 3. Outstanding basketball. But you're right. Every time they're in a big spot, they choke. This should be a win. I am nervous about the spread of 7.5.
Sacramento trying to get out of the play-in round here and get into that top 6. And also OKC, we got some interesting facts here. What are they trying to do? Take down the number 1 overall seed in the Western Conference, which would be key. A 2.5 number at the FanDuel Sportsbook this morning has now moved to -5.5 as a favorite towards OKC, which leads us to believe we might be taking a look at some guys taking the night off here as well. A 227 total, down from 228 in this ballgame. Kings and the Thunder tonight. Just so easy to take that home team? What are we looking at?
I mean, it should be because I just look at a Sacramento team that's really folding down the stretch, right? Obviously, losers won their last game, but I think they beat Brooklyn. But, I mean, three of us and Kevin and Joe Frizo, we can give the Nets a game. I mean,
Probably,
at least for about a quarter, and then maybe I'll run out of gas. But anyway, this team in Sacramento is going the opposite direction of everyone else, and that's why I think the Lakers and the Warriors are looking at them to find a way to get to that spot. Oklahoma City starting to try to get themselves healthy. They are obviously one game back. I think they're going to try and play for that one seed. So to me, I would look at OKC as they start to probably ramp up SGA towards the playoffs. I look for them to get the win and the cover.
Over in 7 of their last 8 games as well. Tonight's total in Oklahoma City is at 227. Now, OKC was one of the best covered teams in the NBA all year long until March. And since March, they have played 19 games, and they have only covered 4 times. Now, they have dropped 5 of their last 9 because of the rest of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but still a little bit precarious for OKC. That, of course, not a Midwest matchup played in Oklahoma City. Our producers love to do that anytime in the games in Oklahoma City. They call it a Midwest matchup. Now we return tonight to Madison Square Garden, I believe, or maybe, nope, the New York Knicks on the road in the United Center in Chicago. That's a Midwest matchup. Now the Knickerbockers, a 5-point favorite on the road against the Bulls. Chicago locked in to the play-in tournament, more than likely in the 9-10 game against the Atlanta Hawks. The New York Knicks, JY, trying to hold on to home floor advantage, at least in the opening round of the postseason. Favorite on the road. What do you expect out of the Knicks?
Well, if you know, last week they went and they played them, and the Knicks played absolutely terrible, and they lost. They were down big. They tried to make a run, ended up losing it by 8-10. This is a big spot for a New York Knicks team that in their last 4 games could possibly find their way to the 2 seed, depending on what happens. So I think it's a big game for New York. I think they need to start to play better. OG Anunoby, that was his first game back when that lost. That team looks to get rolling. Typically, they're very good on the road against the spread. Yeah. I think the Knicks get the job done and cover the spread at the United Center.
Let me ask you a question, Coach. Final 3 games of the season, right? We're handicapping these games as is, and also it's one of those key parts of the year where some teams need it, some teams technically don't, and some of these are violent line swings. How do you take that into an equation, watching some of these teams finish out their season? Is it so simple to say, let me just take the team that needs to win this game? Because they all get paychecks, as we like to say.
No, I think it becomes tough. So you have to look at teams and how they're going to use their roster and how they're going to play their minutes. For instance, you look at Boston, a team that is still ultra competitive. Well, Joe Mazzulla is playing his second group guys a lot in the second half. So when you start looking at teams like that, maybe look at first half as when you bet them, not bet the whole game or first quarter. Team gets off to a good start. They play their normal guy, their normal minutes in the first quarter. Stay away from taking full games. Look at halves, look at quarters, and bet the game live and get in and out of positions accordingly.
I can't believe your follow-up after the New York Knicks breakdown that we had against the Bulls tonight was not about the one and only Tay-Tay.
Yeah, by the way, what's your thoughts on Tay-Tay here? I mean, can he be the MVP of the playoffs?
Yeah.
Come
Who is Tay-Tay?
You know who Tay-Tay is?
I have no idea who Tay-Tay is.
You don't know who
Tay-Tay is? I know Jalen Brunson is.
Pulling up
Take a guess. Take a guess. Who's Tay-Tay?
Splash.
I have no idea.
We told you the game that he plays in, the Knicks and the Bulls. Who's Tay-Tay?
Jalen Brunson?
DiVincenzo.
Dante DiVincenzo.
Oh, Delaware Jordan? What? Mamba?
Tay-Tay.
That's more nice. A.K.A. the Big Ragu. He's always eating.
Over 4.5 threes, plus 132 tonight. A best bet up next.